You are watching Points of Interest.
Hey Tyria, welcome back to Points of Interest, and thanks for hanging out with us again this Friday. We've had a super busy week. We got news about the new Central Tyrian Masteries. We are having the first beta weekend event for those of you who pre-purchased Heart of Thorns, and we've been in Gamescom all week. We've had a lot going on. It's been good though. Speaking of Gamescom, we don't have a PvP 101 this week because he was at Gamescom, but we are going to have Colin stopping by at the end of the show today to talk about this beta weekend event a little bit. For now, though, we are going to talk about one of the Central Tyrian Mastery lines, the Pact Commander line. So I'm with Josh Diaz, who has been working on the Pact Commander Mastery line. He's the game designer. This is kind of his baby, so thanks for coming and hanging out, Josh.
Thank you so much, Ruby, for having me on. It's really awesome to talk about this. We have a lot of really cool ideas that we're excited to put in players' hands, and I'm really looking forward to answering some questions and walking folks through what the Pact Commander line looks like and what that means about Central Tyrian Masteries in general.
Yeah. So Josh and I have been talking about this quite a lot all week long.
Yeah.
Having a really good time, actually. We are going to go through every step in the mastery line today and give you guys a really good, detailed look at it. I know I dropped a forum post earlier this week and let you guys ask us questions. So a lot of our conversation today is guided by you. Josh and I sat down and went through the forum post and looked at your responses, so a lot of this is guided by you guys. It's guided by us.
You guys showed us where to walk,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of good questions and stuff that we are excited to talk about. So thank you guys so much for giving us that chance to make this really sing.
Yeah, we really appreciated that. It showed us that we were kind of on the right track with what we planned on talking about. And it gave us a lot of things that we hadn't thought of, a lot of questions you guys had that we didn't realize, oh, these are things that we should clarify. So that was really helpful.
Yeah.
So we know you guys are eager to find out about this, so why don't we go ahead and jump in and get started. Cool. You are already in game and ready to take a look. So let's just kind of go through in order. Let's see, first one is Pact Mentor, which, oh my gosh, so many questions about this one.
I bet,
Jeez, Josh. All right, let's see. First, what it is, gives you the mentor icon and chat status, plus 5% swiftness in cities for you and your party.
Yeah.
Let's figure this out. First of all, is it per character or account-wide?
So this mastery, like all of the masteries, are account-wide. Once you've unlocked it on one character, it applies to all of your characters.
Okay.
They're accessible starting at level 80 for Heart of Thorns players. And but the bonuses that you get and earn apply across the board. So in this case, we have the mentoring mode, which I think is really exciting and really cool. And that is gives you a little icon that shows up on the map and that other players can see, similar to kind of how commander tags work. And you also get a special title in most of your world and game chat statuses. Okay. So you can toggle it on. It'll be available through the party mode, and we have this little mentor button here. So we activate that, and now mentor mode enabled. And now you'll see I've got this little purple star around me, and I can use this to call other players over to me, show them where I am, so that we can help coordinate, for instance, moving through jumping puzzles or where the start of an exciting event chain is, so that you can help show players what kind of exciting stuff is around in Tyria. Okay. And the chat status, your chats when you're in mentoring mode will show up with mentor next to your name, kind of helping you call attention to hey, I'm here, I want to show new players what's up.
Okay, so if I have this turned on, and you can turn it off and on, it's not just This is, once I earn this thing, I'm stuck in this mode and I'm going to get spammed with questions. You can turn it off if you don't feel like doing that right now.
Yep.
So if I talk in chat, then it says like mentor, and this is your character name and not chat.
Yep.
To let you know, hey, I'm available to help.
Yeah, it's entirely opt-in, and it doesn't come with a big batch of complicated mechanics or chains of XP that you're earning. It's not about rewards. It's not about more, doing more damage or more gameplay mechanics. We have a lot of masteries that do that stuff. But here, we were excited about the opportunity to give players social tools and give them, tools for helping coordinate, communicate. A lot of our players are incredibly friendly, welcoming, awesome folks. And it's something I really appreciate about the Guild Wars 2 community, and I wanted to give them better tools for being able to do that. So this is a start in that direction, where if you've been playing and you've got a bunch of friends who are excited about Heart of Thorns and hop in and want to find out where the cool stuff is, this is one of a set of tools you can use to kind of help guide them along, show them neat stuff, and help both your old friends and new ones that you're making see all the cool stuff There's so many hidden things that are really neat, and being able to help show that, I think, is an important goal. There's a concept that some game designers talk about. It's a Yiddish phrase called naches, and it means it's like a pride in someone else's accomplishments.
And seeing them do well.
Right. So someone that you've taught, I think teachers and parents and folks who do mentoring get that a lot, and I think this is an attempt to give our players a chance to say, to get a little bit of that in-game.
Okay, so to be clear, this was like one big question. I can totally understand how people were confused about this. This is different from a commander tag.
Yeah,
So
this doesn't let you
yeah.
create squads. It doesn't work in World v World. It's a PvE mode. So it's not, it doesn't require a commander book, and it doesn't bypass a commander book. But it's kind of a stepping stone towards what a commander gets to do. Yeah.
It's not going to replace a commander tag. You're not going to confuse this with a commander tag.
Yeah.
It looks different from a commander tag on the map. It's not a thing that you're going to have to pony up gold for.
Right.
So it's not going to. And welcome to the branch that we're working on currently.
Development environments.
I'll tell you what, I will go ahead and get started on the next round of questions because we have so many questions about this from you guys. I'll get started on the next round of questions while you are getting back into the game. We have a lot of questions. There was like this big round of very similar questions, and I'll just kind of run through them. Aren't you worried about people using the mentor system to troll new players by giving them wrong information, or demanding gold in exchange for help, or not helping at all, just using it as for status? Is there a way to deal with abuse of the system? Does the mentor system benefit the new player and the mentor? As much as I like helping people, I like gold and rewards even more. Okay, so here's the thing about the Pact mentor line. Somebody asked a really good question. What was your motivation for adding this? And Josh addressed that to start with.
Yeah.
Because these are all really valid concerns. People, there are bad eggs out there, but the thing is, we have great people that are already in the game and are already doing this stuff, and they're already helping.
Right.
And just because there are bad eggs, we don't want to stop. We have tools to deal with the bad eggs, like the report system. And if somebody's trolling, then use it.
Right.
We don't want that to stop us from creating things for the good people too.
Right. I mean, making players will discover all sorts of interesting uses for the systems that we build. And I think it's a balance between giving players the coolest tools that we possibly can, and that includes making sure that our tools for, reporting abusive or harassing behaviors or players griefing are pretty robust. And that doesn't mean that we don't give players really exciting stuff. It does mean, like, if we put a lot of rewards behind this, or you got a portion of the gold or the XP that players are earning, we'd be incentivizing a lot of those behaviors. And I think instead focusing on this is a tool for people who like doing this sort of thing to make it easier and better for them, helps keep it in the realm of folks who are interested in being welcoming, in finding new players, and in showing off Tyria. And not, we have plenty of other stuff for folks who are interested in getting that fat silver.
And getting gold.
Yeah.
So while Josh and I were working on this show earlier this week, Josh made a good point that I kind of want to talk about in making our community healthier. Because we do have a really good community, making our community healthier is partly about stopping people who are doing things that are detrimental to the community, but it's also about doing things that give tools to people who are doing good things for the community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, helping reinforce positive behaviors and modeling what really awesome folks are like and showing that off helps encourage people to see that that's actually an important thing to do. And so making sure that our players who do awesome things for the community, people who ask good questions, who show off new stuff, who build awesome tools for the other players, where we can, pointing to them and saying this is awesome stuff, I think is pretty valuable.
Yeah. Josh, we're in a development environment, so we're going to have to pause for just a sec while we let Josh get back in there. Let's see. I think that covered most of our questions. If you guys have any questions about this, is just one of our. This is just the first line in the Pact Commander Mastery. So if you guys have any questions that we haven't covered about this one line before we move on, go ahead and drop those in there, and we'll let Josh kind of get back in there.
Sure.
So
now things seem to have chilled out.
Yay.
Let's go, Fatima.
Yay. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Yeah. So, but the general thing here isn't to reward or to get you guys to earn money or rewards for helping other people. It is to give a good tool to people who are already interested in helping their fellow players.
Yeah.
That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Now, speaking of good tools for helping your fellow players, there's another little bonus that starts with the Pact Mentor ability.
I love this one.
And that's that while you are in the capital cities of Central Tyria, you and your party will get a buff that is called Leader of the Pact. And Leader of the Pact applies a small bit of bonus swiftness while you're in that city. Flat out, no recharge, no cooldown. It just sits there and makes getting around a little bit easier. So you can see it active here.
And it's you and your party, right?
Yes, applies to your whole party. The bonus starts a little slower, 5% bonus, but moves up to 33% by the end of the line. So you are with full swiftness while you're in cities. Yay. So we think that'll make getting around a lot more exciting and help give players, chances to show off all the neat stuff that's in cities. We think that'll be pretty exciting.
Now, this was the first question I asked. I hope somebody's asking this in chat. I hope I'm not the only one. My first question was, does this stack with other buffs? And go ahead, give them the answer.
Currently, it does not. It turns out that Tyria also has laws of physics, and that violating those have some pretty severe consequences. But it does mean that you don't have to worry about toggling your symbols on and off or trading for hanging out in the city. Yeah. It's kind of an unnecessary step that we figured we could just take care of for folks.
Yeah. So, there are a couple of good questions there. Will mousing over a mentor on a map show the character name?
Like a commander tag does? I believe it will.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's something we can do pretty easily.
And do you have to have your tag active to get the bonuses, to get the swiftness bonus?
Nope, the swiftness bonus will apply by default when you have the as long as you have the mastery trained.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at the next part of the line, which is productive downtime.
Sure thing.
Which, as a huge crafter, I kind of love.
Yeah, so productive downtime enables your character to get bonus crafting XP. So your crafting skill will raise faster for each item that you craft. You know, crafting is a pretty important part of our game, and we have a lot of really exciting stuff coming out for it. We have a lot of new recipes, a lot of new stuff coming out in Heart of Thorns, and so we think it'll be really useful for players who are interested in that. Plus, it would be really useful if, say, you were interested in the precursor crafting mastery that'll also be coming out. So that'll be pretty handy. So one question that I think is pretty important to address is that when you've learned these abilities, they apply all the way across your characters. You don't need to keep it selected. It is now enabled for that character and all characters on your account.
Cannot emphasize
flat
that
out
enough.
simply. Right? This is an account progression, so this is something that like all your characters will have access to. It should be pretty handy for folks who enjoy creating a lot of alts and enjoy playing a bunch of different classes.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so that one's pretty straightforward. Yeah. All right, how about supply line management?
I'm really excited about this one, Ruby.
Do you want to tell them what I did when I saw this?
It was an exuberant expression of joy, I believe, and a bunch of questions. So supply line management will grant you access to a special network of merchants across Tyria. The Pact has been tracking down important lore from Tyrian crafters, and these vendors will have access to, amongst a few other things, a bunch of old recipes that are harder to find, a little rarer, sometimes unavailable for folks.
Some of which I don't have, and I've been really mad about it for a long time.
There is now a way for you to get them. So these will be a really exciting thing for players to come and check and see what's available day to day. There are also going to be a handful of new recipes on these vendors, such as a new Melandru backpack.
Yay.
Yeah, similar to the Shadow of Grenth and Avatar of Dwayna, Melandru will be getting a new backpack, and the recipe will be available from these merchants.
So this is a craftable thing. It's not just, hey, buy this backpack. This is a thing that you can craft. So there will be 7 vendors throughout Tyria. They need to stay safe, so they're going to move around.
Right.
Once they're there, they'll be visible on the map through different regions. We talked about this. We kind of debated this. We're not going to talk about their inventory because we frankly just don't want to blow up we don't want to blow up the economy right now.
It's some pretty exciting stuff, and we'd like to keep you guessing. So.
Yeah. The recipes are going to be tradable, so there's going to be that. Supply line management also comes with an increase to that permanent swiftness.
Yep. At this point, the swiftness in cities will kick up to 15%.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that should be a nice, comfy bonus for players who are busy running between all the different crafting stations in the bank and et cetera, et cetera.
And this is an always-on thing, so once you get supply line management in this Pact Commander line, the merchants are always available to you.
Correct, and to all of your characters.
Yeah. All right, that one's pretty simple. Next one.
The next one, Noblesse Oblige. I really like this one too. So in this one is a little bit more combat focused. With Noblesse Oblige, you get a speed up to your revive speeds, and that bonus increases the faster or the lower the level of the player you're resurrecting. So if you're resurrecting other characters who are level 80, it's about a 10% bonus, but it'll increase to up to take 50%. When you're when you're reviving or resurrecting characters who are really low level.
Okay, so
those revives will also take away a stack of downed penalty and your
oh right,
and
I totally forgot about
armor
that.
damage. which I think will help a lot with downtime and getting players to see some of the more challenging combat encounters that Central Tyrian has.
All right, so this is a huge incentive to help lower level players.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a good question, and I actually did not write it down, and I'm really sorry to whoever asked this because I'm just now remembering, oh gosh, that was a really good question. If you want to help lower level players, why don't you just let them get the waypoints? Just, hey, why don't you just open up waypoints for them and save them time?
Well, so that's a good question, because, you know, it's a thing that you can, you know, it seems like such an obvious give. But I think the thing is, and we talked about this, that getting waypoints for other players means bypassing all of the cool stuff that we've built in Tyria. All of the hearts, all of the neat events, all of the hidden secret cool places to see. If you can skip just to the waypoint, you miss a lot of that really interesting stuff. And I think it's important for players who are just seeing Tyria to get a sense of how big and detailed it is. And so we'd rather make getting there more exciting rather than make it just faster and easier.
Yeah. This is a question that I want to point out because we totally forgot to talk about that.
Oh, the currency that the merchants use is we're looking right now at having them use karma.
Yay!
So that, you know, your purchases will rely on you actually completing interesting stuff in the map in order to do that, and should provide a really awesome opportunity to spend some of that karma you've been saving onto.
Yeah. So stop turning it into linen.
Yeah.
Or is that just me? It's definitely not just me.
I can't comment on economic decisions made by staff members.
I've been turning it into linen a lot. All right, last one, advanced logistics. Holy cow, you guys had so much to say about this one.
This one's really exciting.
All right, more swiftness. So much swiftness.
Your swiftness boost is now maxed out 33% throughout the capital cities of Central Tyrian. But I think the thing that will really catch players' eye is that you will now automatically get loot from foes you defeat.
Okay, let's pause. I want to clarify something first because I think a lot of people were confused. There was a paragraph in a news article earlier this week that talked about auto loot. This is instant loot is what this gives. This is not auto loot. These are two different things. We are not taking away the auto loot that's in the game now.
Right.
Okay, you still have auto loot. Can you kind of explain the difference?
Yeah, so the system that we have now lets you, you can toggle it on and off in the options menu, and it lets you, when you hit the interact button to pick up loot from nearby things, you'll catch it in a small radius. So, you know, if you've taken out a squad of surly Grawl, you can grab all their stuff at once, which is handy.
It's great. It's nice. I use it.
But the new system that we're getting, you won't even have to hit the button. You take out a sniper, you knock down a bunch of Mordrim wolves, you clear out a map. The stuff that you've earned goes right into your inventory.
You don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything except, you know, rake in the gold.
Yeah, so there's no more wondering if you missed that precursor. There's no more missing out on something if you died and you're sitting there having to waypoint. It just goes into your inventory.
Yeah. So this should be a really fantastic improvement for expert players, and something that will help. They'll really feel it both in their pocketbook and in the quality of their life. Now, some players had asked about, and it should even work when you're dead. That's what we're planning for.
If you tagged the enemy,
and
you get the loot.
You're eligible, it's yours.
Yeah.
Now, some players had asked, you know, why something like this isn't just given flat off the bat, and I think it makes a really interesting contrast with the Pact Mentor, because in this case the benefits are mechanical and financial, right? And in this case, we are concerned that it would make botting really lucrative and really easy. And so something like this is something that we feel like players should kind of demonstrate that they're, you know, that they're really in it. And so that's why we've made it we've put it in the mastery line.
Simply put, we want to reward you, not bots. You get this because you played a wide range of the game. That's the easy answer.
Yeah, you can think of it like your character's a lot better at seeing stuff that might be useful and making sure to pick it up on their way. Now, this only counts for creature kills. This doesn't automatically grab chests. This won't activate gadgets. This won't cause, you know, it's not that complex. But it does mean that all those exciting drops that you could have gotten but never saw will now be automatically yours. Awesome. Forever across all your characters.
Yay.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
I really hope players are excited. You know, this is something that's in development that we've been working on. I know people in the office are really excited about it, and I'm really excited to see players get to it and hear their responses and what they're thinking.
Yeah, so it's still in the works. This is everything we have so far. I know you guys there were a lot of questions that we can't answer quite yet, just because things aren't finished.
Yeah, you know, making sure that it works, that it has the impact that we're hoping for. But we're excited. We think these are some really good directions to be taking.
Yeah. All right. So one more question. What are some things that you can do to earn this?
Right. So, you know, the mastery system revolves around getting mastery points from completing really cool things and training your mastery lines with experience. And I'm excited to say that for the Central Tyrian Mastery points, we're looking at a lot of the things that, you know, has existed and the players have been doing. And we're looking at where those mastery points were come from. And a good number of them we're hoping to be able to grandfather players into, so that when you log into Heart of Thorns and you see these masteries, you are ready to start working on them. So, for instance, each of the story instances from Living World Season 2 will grant a mastery point, and those will be available retroactively. So veteran players will get a leg up when this starts, so that you can go help mentor your friends around, race them through the cities, you know, help them craft up really good gear, etc.
So when you log into Heart of Thorns, this is just going to dump this stuff on you?
You'll get a special message that shows you, you know, what you've accomplished, and that we're excited to be able to push you ahead a little bit and give you a step towards completing all of the masteries. You know, there'll be some compelling choices. There'll be a couple of things that are new for players who've done just about everything. You know, we're pushing some new stuff as well. But yeah, I think that'll help make players, you know, recognize that we really value what they've done for Tyria.
Very cool. Thank you so much for coming in and showing this off.
Thank you so much for having me, Ruby. It's been really awesome.
And thank you guys for asking questions and letting us know what you wanted to know about this and helping us understand what to clear up. I know there are things that you're wondering about and things that you're wanting to know that we are, well, I say we, I'm not working on this. Things that you guys just aren't finished with yet, or that you're still working on, or things that you don't know yet. So, and we will get there on that.
Feedback is always welcome. You know, the forums are, we watch them, we look at them, we talk about them, we talk about the posts and stuff like that. So, you know, I'd encourage you guys to go there and let us know what you're thinking and what you're really excited about and what you still have questions on.
As a matter of fact, after this show is over, I can't do it right now because I'm busy doing this. I'm going to hit the Heart of Thorns forums and I will drop a post there so we can talk about this some more.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Be right.
While you were playing the beta weekend event this weekend, don't forget to tune in Saturday to this Twitch channel at 10 o'clock a.m., 1 a.m. Pacific time to our World Tournament Series Championship event. Live from Gamescom, hence the 1 a.m. Pacific time. The 4 top PvP teams from around the world are going to be competing for $50,000 in prizes. I'm having to read this so I don't get the time zone wrong.
It's important.
We are also going to announce another detail of one of our Heart of Thorns features during the tournament live on stream, so make sure you watch. Speaking of the World Tournament Series, we have a short video for you that I think you're going to like. And then Colin and I are going to talk a little bit about this BWE. So I will see you in a minute. Thank you very much, Josh.
Thank you, Ruby. And thanks, everyone.
Rolling? Okay. Hey there. I go by Chafe on Twitch. Okay, I have to script this a bit more. Sorry.
I've seen Abraham Lincoln statue in Boston. No, wait. Is it even an Abraham Lincoln statue in Boston? Is it even a statue there?
Not Abraham Lincoln.
You can bow to me when I'm done. That works.
I am a champion.
Okay, let's go again.
I play Guild Wars 2. I'm a World Tournament Series champion. But if you show this right after, I came fourth. You know, I'm a World Tournament Series champion. Come on, man. Come on, boys. A good angle on the sword.
Okay. I'm gonna kick myself later for that, I promise.
Hey, Colin.
Hey, Ruby.
Thank you for taking time out of your schedule again to come hang out for a little bit.
Absolutely.
It's Beta Weekend event.
It's
It
live.
has started.
It's
Beta
real.
Weekend event is started, you guys.
We're here.
Yeah, so we want to talk a little bit about what we're looking for this beta weekend. And I think you guys know by now that we really are taking your feedback on board and really making a difference in Heart of Thorns. So what do we want this weekend? What are we after?
Yeah, we're looking for a lot of feedback. I would say I'll start with the real easy ones, which is stuff we've showed before that we're showing again with a lot of changes. We got a ton of feedback on the Revenant. Last time we did the Revenant and Stronghold test weekend. We've made all kinds of changes to the Revenant. We've added Shiro and the sword and the last trait line, so you can actually play with the full profession, which I think is really important. But it was really important in the Revenant weekend for us to test and see, did people think builds were viable using the other three legends and without that power trait line? And a lot of the feedback we saw was generally no. People felt like there wasn't enough there for that to be a viable profession. So we've made a lot of changes to the existing Revenant and the stuff that we've added to try to make it a stronger profession, easier to play with. And give it more options. Adding weapon swap is one of the huge changes to the profession, and a lot of balance on the skills. Stronghold, we felt like was in a really good spot. Last beta weekend, we didn't see a ton of changes we wanted to make to it. Last time, or I guess not beta weekend, but last test weekend. Last time we did a test with it, overtime didn't work. There was a bug, so you should see fully functional overtime this weekend. Which I think is a great addition. You'll see a lot of new UI and cleanup to the UI that makes messaging a little better. So that's some of the stuff we've shown before that we've changed that we're ready to get a lot of feedback on. And then there's a lot of new stuff. The elite specs, we're really excited to see what people think about those. Play them all over the game, take them to your favorite places, play them in PvP, PvE, whatever you want to do. But tell us all about them because they should feel like something brand new for your profession. In a lot of ways, we like to call them almost a new sub-profession. And ideally, that's part of the feedback we want to get is, do they feel that way? Do they stand out and feel unique?
Mobs?
Yeah, creature balance. That's a huge one. Hopefully you have already noticed as you're playing through Heart of Thorns that even in the open world, creatures should be more interesting. They should be more challenging. They should be using abilities that historically they haven't used in Guild Wars 2. And you should be really thinking about using your skill bar, using your dodges, using your traits, and setting up the skills you want to have to fight against them. That's one of the big goals, is that this stuff should, even at the open world level, should be more interesting, more challenging, and make you think about the abilities that you want to use.
Interesting. You mean ow, ow, ow?
Yes, there's a little bit of that. Or
we're gonna make you work.
What am I going to do to counter this? How am I going to fight against that? And we're really looking for a lot of feedback on that. We think it's going to be a little bit of a stark contrast for people who weren't used to it. I think Living World Season 2 was a little bit of a step in this direction where it was a little bit more challenging and hopefully was a nice warm-up for Heart of Thorns. But even just the very beginning of Heart of Thorns should be more challenging, and the deeper in you get, it will certainly be more so. And when we talk about challenging group content, it will be even more so. But we need a lot of feedback on that this weekend. We need a sense of what that feels like. Does it feel challenging? Are you really using the skills that you've got? We don't have a ton of goals hooked up for this weekend yet. You know, going out and collecting your hero points to unlock your elite specialization, for example, isn't something that we're going to test in a beta weekend because we want to just give people the elite specs so we can get a lot of feedback on those. So some of the goals you might normally be trying to get, unlocking the new armor skins and new weapon skins that are in the expansion, things like that, those aren't hooked up. So you have to kind of use your imagination and tell yourself, as I'm playing this, the traditional goals I would have would be in there, and they're not. What would it be like if I cared about getting to these places? Masteries is a huge one. We're giving you 3 days basically to play and level your masteries. We really like to know what that feels like. You know, one of our goals is it should take a long time to earn all the mastery abilities. You know, this is our system of endgame progression for PvE. It can't be something that's just gone really quickly. You know, does the number of mastery abilities we have feel exciting? You can't use all of them in the very beginning of this map, but reading them, are they things that you want? Some of them are things that you will want, for sure. And do you want to collect those? How does it feel to care about your XP bar again for the first time in, for many of us, 3 years almost?
Have some fun with it, you guys.
Don't forget harvesting nodes gives XP. That's an interesting one that everybody internally had been forgetting about when thinking about how much XP they needed to get to earn their masteries.
Oh
you
my
actually
gosh.
want to harvest again. It's important.
Oh, well, I want to harvest anyway because I still don't have all of my ascended stuff. It gives XP. Oh my, I have to go.
It's very easy to forget that. Even those mithril nodes, which are everywhere, you actually want to harvest everything. Like putting on boosters, actually, you know, using your food that gives you XP bonuses is actually totally worthwhile for trying to level up your masteries. The guild XP bonus banners, put those down and help each other out. Like those are all worthwhile things to use in the game right now.
Yeah, you actually just blew my mind. I'm going, oh, I totally forgot that it gave XP, and yeah I care.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to see how all of that plays out, what the feedback on that system is like. Because, you know, again, I've seen this comment a lot of like, okay, yeah, they're saying another thing that's the framework they want to build the game on. The reality is we experimented with a lot of things over multiple years to get to this point. And our original plan always was, let's add a bunch of skills and traits to the game. And in doing that, that will be how people collect and build up more. You know, we have more progression in the game. And what we realized is that's lousy for PvP. We don't really like that for world versus world. It's really hard to just add individual skills all the time that people actually care about. And then we tried like antitoxin sprays and answer to that. Like, well, let's make a skill that everybody can use. And the reality is even that's a lousy answer. You know, we said, let's build the trait system where you want to go out in the world and collect traits because that makes you care about earning new traits and it creates gameplay. Yeah. That wasn't a meaningful answer for progression either. And I think at this point, we're really happy with the mastery system as a concept. The key is getting it right for the amount of time it takes to earn them and the abilities they give you. And that is the system we will be using for endgame PvE progression. It'll tie into what we do with challenging content. It'll tie into what we do with content we build in the future when we keep doing live stuff all the time. You know, this is really important for us to get right because we don't want to go back and keep iterating on different systems. We want to come out of this expansion and say, these core systems are the ways we will grow the game. Elite specs is the way in every expansion we will expand all professions in the future. That should be our answer. And it's important that everybody tells us this weekend that they think that is a meaningful way to do that. So these, you know, we talk about these weekends being important. They are incredibly important.
Really?
Hopefully just the Revenant and Stronghold test weekend has showed that we're willing to iterate very heavily on feedback we get. And the stuff we're testing this weekend, we're going to iterate more on too. Map rewards, that's another huge one.
Oh, yeah.
Playing events and jumping puzzles and mini dungeons gives these new rewards now. You can hover over the icon next to the map name and see what rewards you have coming up. Every week, those rewards rotate and move to different maps. So you end up, if you want to chase the rewards, you get to play different maps every week. If you love a specific map and just want to play there, every week you'll get different rewards. That's the idea. The only exception is Silver Waste, Dry Top, and the expansion maps all have the same reward that you get for playing in those areas. And that's part of kind of the reward cycle for those specific maps.
Yeah. I was talking to Roy Cronick here last night, and he was just talking about iterating on the Revenant and really get in there and play with that. People have already noticed, I saw this morning, people have already noticed that you can play the Revenant on all races today.
Yes, that's a big addition too. Yeah, actually the animations, man, there's some cool stuff in there.
Yeah,
for
I've
sure.
seen people, oh, Asura Revenant, oh my gosh. So yeah, get in there and just get in there and bang on the expansion for a little while and tell us what you think. And so we can move forward on polishing and getting it ready for launch.
You know, we said this, I guess we put it in the blog the other day, and I think it's a really important message to reiterate, is Verdant Brink, the part that we're showing, the PvE section that we're showing in the expansion today, is basically the very first story step, and that's it. And ballpark about 25% of the total playable space of just the first map. And I think there's a ton of game space just in the area that we're showing. But it gives you an idea of just how big these maps actually are. I mean, you know, in total map width, they are not as large as some of the other maps in the game. But when you add the vertical game space going up and going down, and we're not showing anything other than the jungle floor in this demo, there is an entire layer to this map above it, up in the canopy of all these little floating wreckage and islands and everything up there. You can't see any of that yet. You can look up and see it, but you can't get there. And you know, these maps they're huge, just straight out. The maps in the expansion are huge, and we're going to build, you know, we really want people to understand this. We're going to have less total maps for sure. We're focusing on a smaller number of maps that are much deeper in total content and replay value in each map. The maps are really big, and we have tons of different stuff that you could do in them. And the goal is you should be able to hang out in one map and play there for 8 hours and not actually experience anything close to all the total content across that map. That's the idea. You should be able to bounce through and replay it and see completely different things. And one night you might want to log in and play in this map for a couple hours, and you'll see one part of it. And then you go to another map and play a different area. It's really focused on how do we keep players engaged and excited and playing unique different things all the time for a long time, instead of just putting out content that they tear through and a week later they've seen everything and there's no reason to go back and play it again and it's done. And that's a really heavy focus for how do we have a meaningful end game, masteries, challenging group content, having reasons to go back and play all these different maps. I think, you know, Silver Waste is a good example of a starting place for this. And if every fort in Silver Waste played completely differently, I think Silver Waste would be closer to the types of things that we want to accomplish with this expansion. So you could say, I want to go play in Silver Waste today, and then you would ask yourself, which of the 4 forts do I want to play in? Because I know I get to have a completely different experience at each one of those forts. To me, that's the next evolution of what a Silver Waste would be, and then layer all kinds of crazy other stuff on top of it, like adventures and meaningful leaderboards, which, by the way, are in this beta weekend. Go compete with your friends and guild members on leaderboards. How cool is that? And yeah, there's just so much stuff in there to check out. But that's philosophically where we're coming from.
It's so deep too. I mean, we're going this way and and it's not just a measure of, well, how many different times can I zone?
Yeah, and have I run through and done all the hearts and the checkboxes in this map, and now I'm done with it and I can move on. Like, it really is about, you know, having a really deep, awesome experience that you can come back and play and have different experiences every time.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I joked in the forums earlier, I've spent so much time in the Silver Wastes lately, and I'm not bored. So,
well, that's great, and just think of what the Silver Waste could be at the next level, and that's where we want to take some of these experiences.
I'll be working on that this weekend.
And I would also say that these maps are not like, it's not like the expansion is filled with a whole bunch of maps that are just the Silver Waste repeated over and over again. They're really distinct different themes, and in a lot of ways, every map is 2 maps, because content-wise, almost all of the maps in the expansion have different cycles or modes that they go through. So, like, if you want to think about, you know, you're going to get to see in Verdant Brink, there's daytime and nighttime. And we're still not really showing a fully functional version of night. It's still kind of an early iteration of night during the beta weekend. But it really should feel like 2 completely different maps and completely different sets of events and content between day and night. And the maps in the expansion have that type of feel to it. There's really distinct different phases and meta events that change up the way they play. And in very different ways. Our hope would be that each map has a very distinct different feeling to it, so that each one you have a really unique experience, and you can really separate from one another.
And so this is what we want. And your job at this point is to go in there and tell us, are we doing this? Are we getting there? And if we're not, how can we get there? Yeah,
what experiences are we talking about that you're not experiencing? What things would you love to see added to this experience to get us there? I wish that the announcement for PvP was before this interview, so we could talk about that too. But tomorrow, during WTS at 1 a.m. Pacific, 4 a.m. Eastern time.
12 hours and 8 minutes.
Are you going to sleep tonight, or are you just going to stay up all night?
I need to sleep so bad.
Okay. I've been vacillating all day on whether I'm going to try to stay up all night and just watch it until it ends, or I'm going to go to bed early and set my alarm at 1 and get up and watch it. I can't decide which one to do.
I am probably going to go home, fall down, and then wake up at like 12:59 in the morning and be sitting there in front of my computer with headphones on so everybody else can sleep, just going, and I'll stay up long enough to watch the thing.
I wandered on a tangent. It's so important.
It's okay.
Like,
the thing is, I know what it is. I mean, I'm totally spoiled, and I still want to get up and watch it.
I absolutely like. Number one, the WTS is going to be crazy. I mean, this is a dream matchup for teams.
Did you see the live stream this morning with the guys on stage?
Helseth is he's a one-man show.
Amazing.
I love that guy. He's quite an experience.
Right?
I think the matchups are amazing. I think the Chinese team is a giant wild card.
Nocturne is the most polite man on the face of the earth.
They're getting caught up, and the last balance patch I think put them on much more even footing than we've ever been before,
totally.
and it's going to be really interesting to see what comes of that. And then this feature announcement, we kind of alluded to the details, what type of stuff we were going to do for PvP when we got up on stage in January and announced everything for the expansion. But there were a lot of things that we gave some details on, and they're a lot bigger than maybe necessarily the word or two used to describe them actually make them sound to be. And I think that announcement tomorrow is going to be something that PvP players are going to be over the moon about when they understand the idea, the concepts that are going on there. So I really
seriously.
like, if you love PvP or you've always been looking for a reason to maybe care more about PvP or feel like you need a reason to actually be more incentivized to play, stay up or get up early, watch WTS and look for that announcement. Both of those things are things you're just not going to want to miss. It's really awesome. And I think this is kind of a setting off point for where we're going to take competitive in the future. It's amazing to see the growth that they've had in the last 6 or so months.
And they have worked so incredibly hard. And
Yeah.
I'm proud of them seeing where it's gone.
It's really tough. I put myself in that team's shoes, and like we shipped before we had a lot of the things in competitive that we should have had. In retrospect, I think it's really easy to say that is, looking back on it, we shipped and we said we'll get that stuff as we go. We're just getting to the point now that realistically we really have the pieces that we need, including tomorrow's announcement, to have everything we want for competitive. And we've seen the growth. In the last 6 months, the competitive player base in Guild Wars 2, people playing PvP, has consistently gone up. And it's really awesome to see. I think it's a huge testament to the work they've done and the things that they have coming. I think the WTS concept has been a huge boon to us. The deal with ESL, like we've got really good things now for the very top competitive teams, and reward tracks has been a great way for the everyday casual player to feel like there's things they can get to be rewarded. We have a missing component that kind of ties all that together, and I think when all those pieces are there, we're going to be in a place where we can take this to the next level for competitive PvP.
Yeah.
And we're certainly already seeing growth that suggests that we're on the right path. I think with Heart of Thorns, we're going to get to a whole nother level with that, and I can't wait to see what these guys can do with it and how big potentially a Guild Wars 2 competitive tournament could be in the future. Like, I think we're just scratching the surface of where that can go.
Well, and as someone who, a year and a half ago, I had no interest in PvP at all. I was scared to death of it, and I'm totally a filthy casual. I think I'm perpetually a filthy casual. It's so much fun, and I'm fascinated by PvP as a whole. Have a really good time. I'm just in there having fun. But I am fascinated by where the entire Guild Wars 2 PvP scene is going, and I love watching what we're doing on our end.
Yeah.
So it's really neat.
The culture has kind of become pervasive across ArenaNet, which I think is really cool too.
It's really neat.
You could, the first couple years after we launched, I think most people who worked here couldn't have told you who any of the top teams were, or certainly not who any of the top players were in PvP.
Yeah.
Now, in every Monday, when there's a company update for everyone who works on Guild Wars 2, that update includes who won the ESL weekly tournaments and how teams placed, how teams are doing, who's earning qualifier points for World Tournament Series. And they know the players. Yeah, people are literally quoting top players as they're playing content and screaming at each other about it. It's great. And that's a start. That's a sign that we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think the player profiles this week have been fantastic. Seeing each of those.
They've been really, really good.
These are all really great steps in a long
totally
journey to get where we want to be.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just so excited right now about where we're at.
Yeah, it is. No, it's valid.
Oh, and we're at Gamescom right now with people playing. Well, I guess everybody went home now, but for, they've been playing the beta event on the show floor out there before this. It's really just an awesome week for Guild Wars 2. And a great stepping stone for where we're going to be. And we still haven't even announced everything. I think that's one of the coolest parts too. We got a lot of stuff still to share.
12 hours, 3 minutes.
We're almost there.
We're going to spoil people if we keep this up.
Okay.
All right, so beta weekend event. If you have pre-purchased Heart of Thorns, which you should totally do, you can get in there and start testing the game. Tell us what to do next. Tell us what we still need to do. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like.
Yeah.
All right?
Please. And don't forget your beta characters from this weekend will
that's
not be
right.
wiped between now and the next beta weekend.
Yep.
So I would really encourage everybody to work on your masteries, get a bunch of them, save them up. The stuff we show in future beta weekends, the masteries will probably become more and more worthwhile and help you more with other content. So you're going to want those and have that ahead of time. So when we get to the next beta weekend, you're not starting over from scratch working on your masteries. Get that progress, get going, have fun with it. And tell us what it feels like. And if you absolutely hate it, tell somebody else. Don't tell me. And if you love it, you can tell me all about it. I'm just kidding. I can't wait to hear what everybody has to say about everything.
Helpful.
Yeah.
If you hate it, Colin's phone number is. All right, so thank you guys very much for spending some time with us. Don't forget to follow our channel. It's the little purple button right down here, or maybe on Colin's side. If you are watching on YouTube later, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our videos. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have fun this weekend.
Bye. Have a good time.
Generating thanks for watching Points of Interest. Thank you for watching.